Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome to Polar Currency and video number 60, my top 10 large size $5 banknotes, part 1, counting down the notes 10 through 6. It was interesting looking back on my previous top 10 list for ones and twos, and when you get to the 5, denomination prices begin to go up and the grades go down. But I have to live within my budget because, I got to pay the bills. Anyways, they're my notes and I got them. It's an eclectic list. And my criteria is if there's a good story and great history behind the note, along with the beauty and design, that's going to make my top 10 fives. I'll be showing my own notes along with some photos because sometimes you just got to see the full beauty of these notes. All right, enough blabber. Let's get to the list.
Number 10. Starting out the list is the Series 1923 Silver Certificate with one of the greatest nicknames, the porthole. Why? Because it appears that Lincoln is peering out of a ship's porthole. My deep thought for this video is, did the Series 1899 $2 certificate have the same nickname before the 1923 5 was issued? This makes my top 10, because of the nickname, but its historical significance. It was part of the Treasury Department's attempt to modernize and standardize U.S. currency in the early 1920s and was also the last large-size $5 silver certificate issued. Along with the Series 1923 $1 silver certificate and legal tender note and the Series 1923 $10 legal tender note, these were the only 4 notes to receive the new design and be issued into circulation. Federal Reserve notes were also being redesigned, as you can see, by these Series 1923 $10 and $20 proofs, but they never made it into production. The folly in that 1923 redesign is that they wouldn't last very long. In 1925, the Secretary of Treasury, Andrew Mellon, who served 3 presidents, formed a committee to reduce U.S. currency size. The new small-size designs were finalized and approved by 1927 and released in July of 1929, relegating the large-size redesign to the circular file. This is why the Series 1923 $5 silver certificate is one of the few circulating notes that only has one Friedberg number, 282. My note certainly isn't the greatest with the heavy tape residue and folds, but it's still got pretty good color. The blue Treasury seal and decorative 5 denomination make this design stand out. The detail on the Galesh lathework border with the intricate text incorporated inside the border, look how small $5 is wrapped in the United States text. It's amazing. But this note does have a dark side. There is some sinister folklore about the borders surrounding Lincoln's portrait. According to a few sources, one including a July 2022 Coin Week article, and I quote, "Some thought it resembled the appearance of the president as seen through the barrel of a gun. The fervency behind this controversy eventually subsided," end quote. Have to admit that you can't not see it once you're told about it. There's even a gun sight at the top of the barrel. The reverse design vignette is a variation of the obverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. The detailed engraving line pattern coming out from behind the seal is pretty amazing. This is the second time this vignette and background design has been used. The Series 1907 and 1922 $10 gold certificates is very comparable to the 1923 $5 silver certificate reverse. I'm lucky to have this awesome note, and it is ranked number 30 in the book 100 Greatest American Currency Notes by Q. David Bowers and David M. Sunman. Number 9. Next up is the 1861 State of Arkansas War Bond. This is an interesting note because it was used as circulating currency after the Arkansas State Legislature made them legal tender in November of 1861. They could also be considered Confederate notes because they were issued after Arkansas rebelled and seceded from the Union during the Civil War. And they certainly were interest-bearing notes until the legislature suspended interest payments in November of 1862. That didn't last long. Like all war bonds, the intent was to raise cash for the government, in this case the state of Arkansas. An individual would purchase the bond and earn 8% interest on the amount purchased annually. The interest was collected biannually by turning in the coupons after January or July of each year. You can see that one coupon has been redeemed or removed, and the remaining are dated up until 1866. The coupons have stamped signatures, and each one has the serial number that's individually handwritten on each coupon that matches the main bond. My buddy Dean from Massabesic Gold and Silver pointed out that the bond note kind of looks like a flyer tacked to one of those bulletin boards, where you tear off the phone number for a kid to mow the lawn or babysit or whatever. He's not wrong. Like many obsolete and Confederate notes, the reverse is uniface, meaning nothing's printed on it. A very unique note to have, and it's part of my U.S. state obsolete note collection that I'm putting together. Number 8. Numero ocho is part of the first paper currency design issued after the formation of the Bank of Mexico in 1925, following over a decade of revolution and civil war in Mexico. Typical for the time, it's a large-size note that was later reduced in size with the same design and used for over 40 years until 1969. The note was designed and printed by the American Banknote Company. The 5 pesos center portrait, officially called the ideal head of an Algerian girl, now that's a weird name, it was engraved by Robert Savage, a 50-year employee of the American Banknote Company. Nefarious rumors surrounded the note about the identity of the woman on the portrait. This involved some whispers regarding Mexican President Plutarco Elias Calles and the Minister of Finance Alberto J. Pani. The woman is believed to be Gloria Faure, who was a Catalonian performing artist around Mexico City in the 1920s. The note took on the nickname La Gitana, or translated, the Gypsy Note. It was discovered that this portrait was created by Savage actually in 1910, 15 years before the issue. Regardless of the innuendo that was incorrect, the note is striking with the multiple colors and lathework surrounding the left and right denominations that give this note a rainbow color effect that's just beautiful. The reverse has the center engraving of the Statue of Victory or the Angel of Independence in the center. The monument was built in 1910 and located in downtown Mexico City. It commemorates a century of independence from Spain in 1810. All of the notes from this series depict the monument, but have slightly different lathework patterns surrounding the vignette. Typical for Mexican currency, the seals of the Bank of Mexico are printed on the reverse. Number 7. The Series 1907 legal tender $5 note is notably one of the most iconic banknote designs. The design dates back to the Series 1869 legal tender rainbow note. Mine is a Friedberg number 91 that was printed between 1922 and 1927. It's a wide series with 43 Friedberg numbers that have 11 star notes, 6 mules, not that anyone cares about mules, 4 different treasury seals, large, small, spiked, round, and scalloped in 2 different colors. It's got red or blue serial numbers depending on the series and seal combination, or it might have an overprint with a Roman numeral. There's a lot going on this very large series. The face portrays the portrait of 7th U.S. President Andrew Jackson. The engraving is adapted from the 1824 painting by Thomas Sully and has been used since 1869 all the way to this day. But the star of the note is the large center iconic vignette engraved by Henry Gugler, a German immigrant and one of the first engravers hired in 1863 by the National Currency Bureau, later to become the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, the BEP. The beautiful vignette of a pioneer family invokes America moving westward. The father stands in front of his home holding an axe with a down tree, which led to the note's nickname, the woodchopper. He has stopped his work and looks off without recognition. His wife sits beside him holding their infant with a look of unease as their dog has also become alert to something. What? We don't know. But close at hand is his Civil War-era rifle resting at his feet. Most likely the image struck home with many as America expanded west and pays homage to the struggles of pioneer families in the 19th century. The reverse was new for the Series 1875 and has the typical highly ornate design for the period. The 1875 $5 legal tender note was the second series to spell out the penalty for counterfeiting. $5,000 fine or 15 years imprisonment of hard labor or both. That's an estimated $140,000 in 2024, and I don't even want to know what hard labor would have been back in the day. Number 6. This is the second note that comes from my obsolete note collection with U.S. presidents on them. It was issued by the Nemaha Valley Bank of Brownville, Nebraska Territory on March 20th, 1857. Brownville was founded in 1854 and named for, wait for it, original name coming, Richard Brown, who was the first settler, local businessman, and the first mayor. Located in Nemaha County, about 70 miles south of Omaha along the Missouri River, where U.S. Highway 136 crosses into Iowa. Officially, the town is named Village of Brownville with a population of less than 150 residents today. The bank itself did not last long. In December of 1855, the Nebraska Territorial Legislature granted the Nemaha Valley Bank one of the first 6 charters in the territory. It opened in 1856, but went under in 1858 due to the Panic of 1857. That's the extent of the information I could find. But the bank did issue a lot of paper currency. The Nemaha Valley Bank $5 note is very unique in that it has 7 different portraits. The center vignette depicts Liberty holding a Liberty pole and justice scales overlooking the first 5 U.S. presidents whose portraits overlay the Roman numeral for 5. The large portraits are U.S. Senators Henry Clay of Kentucky on the left and Daniel Webster from Massachusetts on the right. Both served as Secretary of State and had long and successful political careers. I found it very curious that not one of the men portrayed bears their name on the actual note. To me, that means that most people recognized every one of them. That's pretty incredible, again, for the middle of the 19th century. The note is uniface, and the only thing that's really visible is the deep red Roman numeral overprint from the front.
Well, that's it for video number 60, my top 10 large size $5 note, numbers 10 through 6, part 1. I hope you come back in a few weeks for the top 5. So far, there's been some good history and new history to me. As always, I appreciate your time, and if you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up button. Feel free to leave a comment, and please, if you haven't done so already, take the time to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in a few weeks, and thanks for checking in.